What if I told you that giant oil tankers carrying millions of barrels of crude oil are now secretly crossing one of the world's most dangerous waterways, with their trackers switched off? At the same time, Israel is warning civilians in southern Lebanon to evacuate immediately. Hezbollah claims Israeli soldiers were wounded in fierce clashes, and Iran has just executed a man accused of spying for both the United States and Israel. Tonight, the Middle East is once again moving closer to a dangerous turning point, and if the Strait of Hormuz is disrupted, the entire global economy could feel the impact. This is the latest update on the growing tensions between Iran, Israel, Hezbollah, and the United States. Let's break everything down. The first major development comes from the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most strategically important waterways on Earth. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow corridor between Iran and the Gulf states. According to Reuters and shipping data from Kpler and LSEG, 3 massive oil tankers reportedly crossed the Strait of Hormuz with their tracking systems switched off. Now this is extremely unusual. Ships normally keep their tracking systems active at all times for safety and transparency. But when vessels deliberately disappear from radar, it usually signals fear of potential attacks or military escalation. 2 giant VLCCs, or very large crude carriers named the Agios Fanarios 1 and the Kiara M, were carrying nearly 2 million barrels of Iraqi crude oil each. The Agios Fanarios was reportedly heading toward Vietnam and had already failed multiple attempts to cross the strait safely before finally succeeding. Meanwhile, another tanker called the Basra Energy carried 2 million barrels of crude from Abu Dhabi and also crossed the waterway quietly. This move suggests that shipping companies are becoming increasingly nervous about possible Iranian retaliation or military action in the Gulf region. If conflict erupts near the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices around the world could skyrocket almost instantly, and we are already seeing signs of panic in global energy markets. Brent crude prices have surged again after diplomatic tensions between Iran and the United States worsened. For many analysts, this is no longer just political tension, it is becoming an economic threat to the entire world. Meanwhile, the situation on Israel's northern border is becoming more dangerous by the hour. The Israeli military's Arabic language spokesperson, Avichai Adrei, issued a fresh warning to civilians in southern Lebanon. Residents in multiple towns and villages were told to evacuate immediately ahead of potential Israeli strikes. The areas included locations in Jazin, western Bekaa, and surrounding regions. These evacuation notices usually happen before major Israeli airstrikes or military operations, and this warning came shortly after Hezbollah announced new attacks against Israeli forces. According to Hezbollah, its fighters targeted Israeli troops hiding inside a building in the town of Taibeh. The group claims it attacked the position multiple times and forced Israeli soldiers to retreat. Hezbollah also claimed that an Israeli helicopter had to arrive to evacuate wounded troops from the area. At the moment, Israel has not officially confirmed those claims. But fighting along the Israel-Lebanon border has intensified dramatically over recent months, and many experts fear this low-level conflict could suddenly explode into a full-scale regional war. If Hezbollah fully enters the conflict alongside Iran, Israel could face attacks on multiple fronts simultaneously. That is exactly the nightmare scenario many Western governments are trying to avoid right now. In another major escalation, Iranian authorities announced the execution of a man accused of spying for both the United States and Israel. Iran's state-run Maya news agency identified the man as Irfan Shahzadeh. According to Iranian officials, he was allegedly connected to one of the country's scientific and satellite-related organizations. Iran claims he passed sensitive information to foreign intelligence services. Executions linked to espionage cases are not uncommon in Iran, especially during periods of heightened regional tension. But the timing of this execution is important. It sends a clear message from Tehran that the government believes foreign intelligence operations inside Iran are increasing. Over the past few years, Iran has repeatedly accused Israeli intelligence agencies of carrying out sabotage missions, cyber attacks, and assassinations targeting Iranian scientists and military officials. This latest execution will likely increase tensions even further between Tehran, Washington, and Tel Aviv. When you connect all these events together, a much larger picture begins to emerge. Oil tankers secretly crossing dangerous waters, Israeli evacuation warnings in Lebanon, Hezbollah attacks near the border, and Iran executing alleged foreign spies. All of these developments point toward one thing. The Middle East is entering another extremely volatile phase. The biggest fear for world leaders right now is miscalculation. One missile strike, one attack on an oil tanker, or one major military operation could suddenly trigger a chain reaction across the region. And unlike previous conflicts, today's tensions involve multiple powerful actors at the same time. Iran, Israel, Hezbollah, the United States, and Gulf nations watching nervously from the sidelines. That is why every new development is now being closely monitored by governments and financial markets around the world. Because if this crisis expands further, the consequences may not stay limited to the Middle East alone.